Hey, good evening. Okay, so tonight's math assignment was even numbers, and this is for period 2, Mrs. Van Nessa's class. Okay? All right, and we were doing even numbers. I'm going to be transferring the information over to my graph paper because that's what I want y'all to start using from now on, because it's easier to see what you're doing and to keep the numbers lined up. All right, so let's look at number 2. We weren't going to be using the fraction strips. We're going to have that activity for tomorrow. So make sure that you have your stuff ready to go. We don't want to be wasting any more time. All right, so my equation is 2/3 plus 3/4. So I'm moving that over here. This is number 2. I have 2/3 plus 3/4. In our notes today, we learned that we were going to be making a box, divided evenly, making my columns, labeling my columns. I'm so sorry. Labeling the columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Circling the denominators. Place my denominators in the box. And I skip count. 3, or it's 3 times 2 is 6. 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 15. You see how I did that? It's just like pulling out your array and doing it on your multiplication chart. Here you get 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, and 4 times 5 is 20. I'm looking for my lowest common multiple, which we talked about today. So what number is up here that's also here, but it's the lowest one? I see the number 12. So I'm going to circle that. I'm going to highlight it so that you can see it better. You can do the same or just circle it. So I know that my lowest common multiple is 12, which means my common denominator is going to be 12. My lowest common denominator is 12. All right, so now let's come back over here. I don't have a 12 here, so I'm going to need to change this, have equivalent fractions, so 2/3. I'm going to extend my fraction bar, put an equal sign. I need to change that to a 12 because that was what was determined. So 3 goes into 12 4 times. I know 3 times 4 equals 12. We talked about today, whatever I do to my denominator, I must do to the numerator. So 2 times 4 equals 8. The equivalent fraction for 2/3 is 8/12. I'm going to do the same thing with the 3/4. Extend it over. I'm needing to change that to the 12th. It's right here. 4 goes into 12 3 times, so 4 times 3 equals 12. Again, what I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. 3 times 3 is 9. We were adding these together, so I'm going to switch over here because on our paper it's asking for what are my new fractions. And so here I had 8/12 plus 9/12. My denominator will always stay the same. So 8 plus 9 is 17. And so it's 17/12. But what kind of, we said that this was called an improper fraction. So I needed to change that to a mixed number, which we talked about today. And a mixed number, it has a whole number plus a fraction. So I'm going to come back over to my paper. I have 8/12 plus 9/12 equals 17/12. I said that I can take a whole number. And remember to make this, my denominator is 12. I'm going to take that difference. This is 12. A number that is over itself makes one whole, so 12. So I'm going to take out 1. 17 minus 12 equals 5/12. So here I have 1 whole and 5/12. So my answer will be 1 and 5/12. So I have 1 and 5/12. To check my work, we said it was taking my denominator. 12 times 1 is 12 plus 5 is 17 over 12. And so I know my answer is correct. So here, I needed to simplify this into its lowest terms. So it's 1 and 5/12. Okay? There we go. All right, let's go to number 4. So we had 4, 6, 8, and 10. And number 4, my equation is 5/6 plus 1/2. Let's see if I can reduce that a little bit more. There we go. All right, I'm going to make my box, and I said it was going to be your best friend because it will never let you down, and it will always give you the lowest common multiple no matter what. I'm going to circle my denominators. My 6 goes here. My 2 is here. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I'm thinking I can find something with my 2's. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. There we go. 6 is my lowest common multiple. My LCM is 6, which means my lowest common denominator is 6. So I don't need to do anything to this one because it's already 6. But I'm going to bring down my 1/2. I need to change my denominator to a 6. What did I do to get from a 2 to a 6? I multiplied it by 3. Kind of got those numbers off here. So whatever I do to the denominator, I must do to the numerator. So 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so now I'm ready to add. I have 5/6 plus 3/6 equals 8/6. Okay, now I'm going to take out of whole. So I'm going to take a 6 out of a 6. So 6/6, that's 1 whole. That leaves me with 2/6. So I have 1 and 2/6, but we said that they're even numbers. So I'm going to bring down my 1. What's half of 2? 1. Half of 6 is 3, so my final answer is 1 1/3. Okay. All right. Whenever you need to stop and pause it to do your work, do it, and then you can move on. So here I had 1 and 2/6, or 1 1/3. That is in its simplest form. Let's move on to number 6, 1/4 plus 2/3. I'm going to flip my paper over. Okay. Need to find my common denominator. I'm going to make my little box over here. I'm going to make my column, split it in half, label it. Circle my denominators. This is a 4 and a 3. This makes it 8, makes it 12 and 16. This makes it 6, 9, and 12. Is there a number here that matches here? It is. I see a 12. That's my least common multiple, which is going to be my lowest common denominator. Okay? So it's 12. I need to change this fraction. So its denominator needs to go to 12. So what do I do to get from 4 to 12? Multiplied it. 4 to 12, it's 3. Multiplied it by 3. Whatever I do to the denominator, I must also do the same thing to the numerator. So 1 times 3 is 3. So the equivalent fraction is 3/12. Do the same thing with the 2/3. Extend my fraction bar. And this is 12. 3 to 12, I multiplied it by 4. And that's 8/12. Now I can add it up. I have 3/12 plus 8/12. 8, 9, 10, 11. The answer is 11/12, which is, how far away is it from a whole? Yep, 1/12. Very good. So the answer is 11/12. It's almost a whole. All right, we're looking at number 8. 3/5 plus 3/10 Okay. Again, I needed to find a common multiple. Label my boxes. Circle my denominators, my 5 and my 10. 5 times 2 is 10. I can stop right there. I'm done because I found my lowest. Let me go ahead and highlight these. Circle, circle. So I don't need to do anything to this fraction because it already has a denominator of 10. But here, 3/5, extend my fraction bar. I need to take it to 10. So I went 5 times 2 equals 10. 3 times 2 equals 6. So now I have 6/10 plus 3/10 equals 9/10. Okay, and so my answer over here is 9/10. All right, number 10, 7/10 plus 1/2. What did I do? This here is not supposed, this is 8. Sorry about that, guys. That's 8. And number 10, I have 3/5. I lied on that one too. Didn't mean it accidental. 7/10 plus 1/2. Make my box. I'm just going to make a little box this time. 1, 2, 3, circle. So when you do that, you'll see what happens. I'm going to put my 10 here and my 2. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just do my 2s because I know I'm going to come up with it. It's going to be 10. A number that's 10 on this bottom line. So 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 3 is 6. Remember I was saying I can always add another column and label that. Makes it 8. Still can go. Add another column. Put my 5. And it makes it 10. And there is my lowest common multiple. Which my lowest common denominator then will be 10. Not my lowest, but my least, and then my lowest common denominator. So I don't need to do anything here. That's good to go. So I'm going to take my 1/2, extend my fraction bar, equals, and I know my new denominator is 10. So I had 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 10 is 10. Oh, well, look at that. So I have my 7/10 plus my 10/10, and that's going to equal to 17/10. I can take out one group of 10, so I'm going to subtract one group, one whole out of that. It leaves me with 7/10. So here is one whole. So my answer then is equal to 1 7/10. Okay? I did something wrong. I must have dozed off in my brain. Hold on a second. I caught it right here. Did y'all catch that? Boy, my mind is like going off. Okay, so look at the mistake that I made, and I hope y'all caught that and saying, stop, what are you doing? Because it's supposed to be 5. 2 times 5 is 10. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this out. I just kept going. Somebody was trying to talk to me, and I tried to work at the same time, and it doesn't work when people are talking to you. So anyway, the person is not here anymore, and I was just like, I'm busy. So it's 5/10. So I'm going to take this away because it's like, what?